Yo, there's a piece of furniture I want you to redo.
Oh, okay.
But I do like it, and so I want you to keep it the same.
Keep it the same.
Yes, just change it, but keep it the same, but different. Do you know what I mean, darling?
Weirdly, I think I do.
I know, darling, I know. It's like we're in each other's heads. Yes.
So, different but the same.
Let's say the same but different.
But don't change it.
Right, but change everything.
Okay.
But keep it the same. Because I like it, darling, but it all needs to change. But don't make it different. But it does need to change completely.
Hey everyone, I'm Andy. Welcome to Furniture Fables. So you have this piece in your house and it's working for you, but it needs some TLC. And you'd like to change it, but not really change it, but you want something new and different, but also keep it the same. Don't look at me like that. I know you know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean. Here is my little conundrum now. This is a 3-drawer chest that was given to our family by some wonderful friends from Sweden who were moving back home after being in the Bay Area for a few years. The chest had been the childhood dresser of the dad, and I think he was a little sad to leave it, but was comforted to know that it would be staying with our family and be very well loved. I had always really liked the design. They had done a kind of faux wood grain paint job with a little hit of Swedish blue along the top border. And this soft neutral with its original brass hardware had been a true workhorse for our family, spending time in each kid's room and ultimately serving as a great accent piece in the family room. But the years had definitely caught up to it, and its many, many layers of paint were finally letting go. Ah, that's where I put the wrapping paper. Also, its drawers had always kind of been sticky. Probably from too many layers of paint on the sides and the tops and bottoms. Yep, stick. And so, wanting to give my little Swedish friend a change, and yet not really change it, I began. I actually started out by doing a quick lead test. I didn't think it would be positive, but it's always a good idea to check with a piece that has this much paint on it. Once that came back negative, I removed the drawers. I see someone has been temporarily using the chest as a shoe repository. And then I removed that original brass hardware. Here's a dandy little thing. John got me this fabulous magnetic parts holder. I'll link it below if you'd like to check it out. Next, I grabbed some clean strip chemical stripper and I spread an even layer all over the top. I covered that with some plastic, and after about a half an hour, I came back and I scraped off that top layer that the chemicals had lifted. Yeah, this is not super encouraging, not what people want to see when they are starting to strip an entire piece. I did a second layer, and then I did a third layer, this time using a different stripper. This is Smart Strip, and I used the paper that they recommend as well. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Oh boy, but yikes. Yeah, you can see we still have a ways to go. You can see we've got some white and some gray and some green. Maybe some orange? Okay, I did one more layer of that smart strip, this time making sure to press down on that paper and bingo! We have release. I used my metal scraper to carefully push back the paint, carefully meaning careful not to gouge the wood with the metal scraper. And then I cleaned up the top of the surface with some mineral spirits and steel wool. So I, of course, had been having the same battle over with the drawer fronts, dreading the fact that I had the rest of the body to still do, when a thought began to grow in the back of my mind. I took out my heat gun and check this out, friends. Can you hear the choir of angels singing in my head? Yeah, these layers of paint really had fused all together and wanted to lift as a whole from that raw pine underneath. And so my heat gun, which I have now named Hottie McHotterton, did a fabulous job helping me remove the rest of the old paint. So don't forget about your heat gun. I wish I had started with it. Okay, so in an abundance of caution, I decided to do another lead test on the leftover green paint, looking for any sign of pink or red or purple on the test. Orange is good. And then I began to sand all of the leftover bits. That included trying to do my best to remove as much paint as I could from the sides and the tops of the drawer bar supports. I also cleaned up the bottom of the dresser, and I gave the bottom of the feet a quick and careful cleaning sand. Continuing on, I cleaned up all that extra paint on the back of the piece, and I gave the back panel a sand while trying to leave what was left of that original label intact. I think Jolie means package, but please correct me, my Swedish friends. Oh, so much paint. Even after all that chemical stripping and heat gunning and sanding, it seemed like everywhere I looked, there was still more paint to remove. I even had to kind of chisel out the paint buildup in the cracks and the crevices. Phew, it was kind of like paint surgery. Okay, we are about as good as we're going to get here, and so I did a quick wipe down to remove any dust, and then I got ready to do some paint washing. This is our hero color in paint wash land. If what you would like to go for is kind of an aged pine look, Algonquin by Fusion Mineral Paint is a great way to go. When applied as a wash, this neutral has just the right amount of gray to knock out a lot of the yellow while still being warm and lovely. I'm going to be applying it with one of my favorite synthetics. This is Fusion's 2-inch angled brush. Remember, you can use my code to get 10% off all Fusion products, and that is in the description box. So I am not going to mix up a wash. Instead, I'll show you my technique for paint washing that I'm really enjoying right now. I'm going to start by using my misting bottle to give a light mist over the top, and then I'll use my brush to spread that fine mist evenly. And then I paint on a full strength layer of Algonquin, doing my best to work quickly. And making sure I don't have any drips, especially along the sides. Once I have the top covered, I give it another light misting, and then using my lint-free shop rags, I wipe back the first layer of paint in the direction of the wood grain. I do another quick mist, and then I turn my rag to a clean side and then wipe back again. I made sure to get into the edging there on the top, and then I did a third light mist and wiped back one more time. So here is that top where we started, and here it is now. We are still seeing that pine grain and all of the knots, but a lot less of the blotchiness. It's all kind of been smoothed out, and the intense gold, the intense yellow has been mellowed. I continued on applying the Algonquin wash all over the entire body of the dresser. Okay, now for the special sauce, in my opinion. I am going to now do a paint wash layer of Fusion's Chateau. This is a warm but not yellow, gorgeous creamy off-white that I think does wonders over Algonquin. Yes, it does lighten the overall effect, but I think it also kind of acts as a toner and gives a richness and a softness to the finish that I am really liking over pine. These tonal paint washes can be so great for so many reasons. Yes, it's true that a paint wash is not going to have the same depth of richness as an oil-based stain, but it is way easier and more forgiving to work with. It dries in minutes, not days, and if you don't like it, it can be sanded off in literally minutes. I mean, it barely takes a skiff from a sander to remove a paint wash. I had been all over the map with what I wanted to do with our little Swedish chest, and ultimately decided I wanted to get those layers of paint off and then kind of recreate that neutral color palette that had been working so well for us, but kind of reinterpret it in a different way. And so to bring that blue back into the design, I grabbed this Decoupage fiber paper by Redesign with Prima. This one is called Blue Wallpaper. This is not a typical decoupage paper. This is a high-density fibrous material that is super tough and strong. So I am going to take a slightly different approach with this paper, with how I am applying it. Instead of applying another layer of gel over the top, which is typical in decoupage, I instead went ahead and used my electric sander with a fine grit pad to sand off the excess around the edges. And then I began to sand away the actual paper with that fine grit pad. Now, this is not something I could really do over a less robust paper, but with this decoupage fiber, the coolest thing starts to happen. The paper doesn't just distress, it doesn't just tear, it actually seems to start to meld into the wood. It almost looks like a stamp or a hand-painted detail that has faded with age. It is a truly unique effect. I've never been able to achieve this with a different type of decoupage paper. I'm kind of excited that I discovered this. I'm sure other people have figured this out, that this is a thing you can do, but I discovered it on my own, and I was excited to do that. Because the decoupage fiber is very much like cloth material, the sanding leaves behind some pilling, and so I sanded that off by hand with a very fine rad pad. Once I had the drawers where I wanted them, I did a quick paint wash over the top edges. No more thick paint up there. And then I did a super important step after all of that paint washing. I sanded the entire piece very carefully to not remove any coloring, but I used a fine grit pad over the entire dresser because that water will definitely raise the grain and leave your piece feeling a bit gritty. But this step helps leave it silky smooth. I decided to seal the piece with some clear wax by Jolie. I used my big wax brush to buff all of that in, and then I came back with a lint-free shop rag, and I wiped back any excess wax. Okay, it was time to clean up our hardware, so I grabbed some Barkeeper's Friend, and using a damp rag, I shined up those original pulls, not really worrying about any little leftover bits of tarnish. I got out some lemon verbena furniture salve from Wise Owl, and I added that to the drawer insides, as well as the inside of the piece itself and the bottom of the wood slides. This will make this very hardworking piece smell amazing, always a plus in my home, and it will ensure those drawers have nice, smooth action. Okay, do you remember our adopted Scandinavian friend? sporting lovely details and a hard-working neutral outfit that was, unfortunately, feeling its age. Well, her are hon nu. Different, but kind of the same. In her newly refreshed neutral with a touch of blue outfit, our hard-working pine chest is ready to support just about any color palette, whether it be full of punchy brights or more subtle neutrals. Her original pine timbers, free of those layers and layers of paint, have been softly toned to an almost reclaimed look found in the priciest of shops. And I can't decide if I love her champagne-toned pulls more against her perfectly weathered paper or her one drawer I left plain. In any case, I know this now Swedish-American gal will travel along with our family for many years to come.
So how much did my same but different friend cost me? Well, the chest, of course, was free, only about $5 for paint and wax. That decoupage fiber paper was $16. Probably a good $20 worth of chemical stripper plus that very special paper that I used. Another $10 for everything else, and that brings my total out-of-pocket cost to $51 and worth every penny. So what did you think? Did you like that Algonquin Chateau paint wash recipe? I'm telling you, if you like reclaimed pine, that's a good way to go. Were you hoping I would keep that paper crisp, or did you like that effect that the sanding had? Are you a bright, shiny bronze person or a please keep the patina person? Leave me a comment and let me know what you think. I really hope you enjoyed today's fable. If so, please do give me a thumbs up and remember to subscribe so you don't miss any future cross-continental content. Thank you so much for joining me, my friends. I will see you next time for more furniture fables.